Okay. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the San Francisco Independent Short Film Festival. I'm Frankie Stewart of Festival Formula, and today we're going to be speaking to a few of the filmmakers featured in Conflict Block 1. So I do just have an icebreaker just to sort of get the juices flowing. An easy question, nothing to do with your films. It is, what was the last TV show that you watched?
Oh,
Shit.
Mine goes blank. Rio, what was the last TV series you watched, or what's
yeah,
your favorite?
that's basically what my mind is going to right now. I would say it's a documentary from Netflix called One Planet. I
Oh
I don't know
yes,
if you consider that as a TV show,
no,
but
that's good. Yeah, that
yeah,
counts.
it's like
Fair enough.
an Animal Kingdom thing. But
Yeah,
I
for
kind of
sure.
like it. Yeah.
Timothy, how about you?
Yeah, last night I watched Ratchet, which is connected to the One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest on Netflix, and it's
The Nurse, is that right?
uh,
Yeah,
yeah, the production on it is like so good.
yeah. Wow, no, I definitely need to check that out.
Yeah,
Jack, what about you? Do you have a recent TV show?
Yeah, Chopped. Watch Chopped while I'm eating dinner. And I get to look at my plate of food and realize it's not up to par, basically.
And John, how about you? What's the most recent TV show you watched?
Um, end of the effing world. I don't know if I'm allowed to curse. It's the F word.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, I
Oh.
know.
Yeah, yeah. It's like a Bonnie and Clyde type story
Yeah, no, they're
on
wicked.
Netflix. It's really good. Yeah.
No, yeah. The reason I ask is because obviously we're all watching a lot of stuff, and I think TV shows are great. Um, so anyway, getting into our films or your films, really. Jack, I wanted to ask with 288, it obviously deals with a very sensitive subject, and I think it does so in a very unique and artistic way, actually. I was just curious, what have audiences' sort of responses been to your film so far?
Well, a lot. It's been, it's a heavy subject. It's heavy to listen to these guys. To sit there, a lot of anger towards the perpetrator. Like I really wanted to get that voice of the abuser, which is left out of so many of these films. This is real straight out. Hey, I don't give a shit. These people are lying. Fuck them. And the response is like they hate this man. He's an actor, but they hate him. And it's interesting because when we started the film, he and I were the only two that actually admitted to being abused. And
Yeah.
so, we're just basically drew from our own experiences. And that's what he did. Those are all the things that were said to him. Fuck you, you're a liar, you're full of shit, stand up like a man, all that.
No, yeah, that's extremely powerful, and I think that it was interesting to see because the things that were said were so visceral and did feel very real. And I also have to say, I was very scared actually of that guy in the film.
Yeah, and he's actually a really nice. He's
Yeah,
a
I'm sure
really
he is.
nice. He's a really
Yeah,
nice guy,
like,
and I use him a lot. Like I use him for other things, and
yeah,
and the cool thing is I just fed him lines. Like I fed him lines, and then just said, just go, just riff on it. Don't worry about it. And and
yeah.
he did, and then just had to go through and just cut the lines out that fit the narrative. Basically, if it's not really a narrative, but that echoed what I wanted to say, basically.
Yeah, no, I think you definitely achieved that. It feels very realistic, and that's a style that I appreciate, and I'm sure a lot of others do.
Oh, and also, just one other thing: none of the actors in the film knew what the film was about, and the cinematographer also didn't know what the film was about. I didn't let them know. If you listen, none of the answers are specific. So it was like it was kind of like a trick to get
Yeah,
realism from these actors.
yeah,
One time I was dicking around on Facebook and I, bored, sitting around the house, and I wrote, some little post. I can't work without coffee in the morning. And then all these people comment, there's hundreds of comments, me too, blah, blah. So then I went and re-edited the post and said, I can't work without, sucking a fucking whatever in the morning. And so I had changed the initial question, the initial statement but still had their responses. So none of the actors knew what the film was about. I asked them questions about loss and betrayal and hurt,
Sure.
and they answered me, and then I took their answers and molded them into
I
that.
see what you mean.
And I had actors dropping out on me as the movie progressed because they said, "Hey, I can't do this anymore.
Wow.
This is uncomfortable. I can't be in this."
Wow.
So
No, that's very, very interesting. I must say, I think the audience are going to find that extremely interesting. Timothy, I wanted to just say, with regards to A Violent Storm, stylistically, I would say it's probably quite different to a lot of other narrative shorts, with its like fast pace and also very powerful soundtrack, which I appreciated a lot. Where did your inspiration come from for that sort of style, or was it an inspiration, or do you see it as more of your own style?
Yeah, it was a few things. Part of it, I wanted to essentially make sort of a concept short. So I realized I needed to fit a lot of story material in only, 10 minutes or so. So pace-wise, I thought about the first bit as sort of like a music video almost, and then it shifts into sort of like an action sequence, and then the actual film itself is the last half or so. Yeah, and that's, in terms of pace, that was kind of my thinking on it. And yeah, just the vibe, I guess. I don't know. I just pulled from stuff I really liked, shows and different works people have done. This is my first short film to actually get going, so.
Oh wow! Congrats. Yeah. So really, it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and just sort of your own influence and sort of music video influence as well.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
I definitely the soundtrack I definitely feel was very powerful as well. Was that a favor, or is that someone you know?
Yeah, a guy I know, he goes by Path, Danny Roberts. He's so good, and we had worked for a while on it, kind of getting all the highs and low points, and he really did a great job on it.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's an interesting take as well on the sort of superhero vibe as well. Are you, just let me ask, are you a sort of a fan of generic superhero films out of curiosity, or not really?
So I love superheroes. I think superheroes are a really important piece of culture today. But I do think most superhero films nowadays kind of miss kind of the potential there, I guess. So
For sure.
for this, I wanted to sort of use superheroes as a whole as sort of like a plot device, I guess, to tell more like, I don't know, maybe a darker or more serious story. Yeah.
No, I hear you. I think it's very captivating in the modern world of modern film superheroes, and I think it's very easy just to make, once you feel like you've seen one, you feel like you've seen all of them. So I'm always appreciating fresh takes on sort of very generic genres. So yeah. John, moving over to Bracelet. For me, I definitely felt the story that you created within the short leaves the viewer wanting to see more. I'm just curious, was that your original hope? And do you have a plan for a feature or anything like that? Because the story definitely seems to have a lot more to it. Or was it just a short and that's what you did?
Yeah, no, I definitely wanted the ending to be a little bit open-ended. I don't know if I had like any like specific like solid ideas for what would happen immediately after the end. Like I wasn't thinking about making a sequel or anything, but I guess I was thinking of like maybe making something that could be developed, yeah, like you said, into a feature or just into a longer film eventually. So I wanted to, kind of make this concept into something. But not so far as like making a sequel, but I think it's something I could expand on and like just expand the original story. I wanted something that I could work on again in the future. So
definitely, yeah, I definitely got that vibe. I really enjoyed it. I thought that I really like the concept of that sort of hacking of the sort of the tags, and how you can control people, because you're a criminal mastermind, but you're controlling criminals. So it's sort of, it's a flip on that. What sort
Yeah.
of films did you take inspiration from for that, if any?
I really like psychological thrillers. Like
Yeah,
I've always like I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Hard Candy with Ellen Page.
yeah,
I always really liked that movie. It's really weird, but I don't know, the vibe of it, the tone of that movie always has inspired me a lot. And I like the kind of feeling that you're watching some. I like realistic things. So the way that I shot it, the way that I shot the movie, I wanted it to seem very like, you know, natural, like with handheld shots and all that
hmm
stuff. But yeah, I like the psychological aspect. I like things that are exciting, but not so much like horror movies and stuff like that. Things that are more like in your head. And this movie, I wanted to kind of show a lot about like what the main character was feeling inside because of what's going on around her. Like she wants to be independent. She wants to be like free, but she's stuck inside, her apartment, and then she's under control of this like mysterious person. So it's kind of about like losing control, and I wanted to illustrate that feeling.
I think you've done that brilliantly well, and I think it's a genre that is definitely coming into the mainstream now with films with like directors such as Jordan Peele. So I think that's very exciting stuff. Um, Moving on to you, Rio. So my thoughts about Winter's Winter was that I thought you did a brilliant job of getting the audience to really sympathize with Winter in such a short period of time. And I was just curious, what challenges did you face trying to condense that narrative into the short form?
Actually, I wrote that, and then I think I didn't hit any challenges for that film because I do think the ending is a little bit open ended as well.
Mm,
Because I do want audience to feel like because she's in the United States and she's chasing her American dream,
for
that
sure.
she's within the place where she can see the LA downtown. It's like so close yet so far, and now she wounded the owner. She has to go, and the people doesn't know how she ends. Will the police go after her, or will she go back to China safely? So that's pretty much where I want people to feel about the film.
Definitely, yeah. You left it with that sort of ambiguity. I
Yeah.
really like the end shot as well with the phone just hanging down, very
Oh
still.
yeah. Thanks.
That was very nice. Um, I have some generic questions as well, guys. So I'm just going to go around again. These are a little bit more generic. So the first one is just a general question. How have you found it being a filmmaker during festivals whilst the pandemic is going on? So start with you, Jack. I remember you said that you're not actually a filmmaker, so that's quite interesting.
Yeah, it's my curse. You guys can blame me on this. So I always make a joke with people that I'm cursed. I had just written a book that was going to be published, and then the whole economy in the United States took a shit, like in 2008. So the first time I make a film and enter it in festivals, the pandemic comes and all the festivals go to shit. So I think it's my curse that I blame this on.
Okay,
But
that's
it's,
what it is.
whatever. Try to get a cleansing somehow.
Timothy, how about you? Have you had many other screenings? Have you found it unique?
Yeah, it's been different, and it's tough because some spots will be doing some sort of live thing, but have to have a very limited amount of spots. So you would think you'd typically be accepted, but can't, and things
Mm,
like that. And it's not the like theater experience, but people are really doing their best to try to make it still something really special, and I've really appreciated that. Really kind of across the board, everybody's done what they can. It's just a wild time. Everybody's just got to hang on.
it is, and I think everyone's struggling, but I think you're right. If everyone can see that everyone's trying their best, then we can all appreciate that.
Yeah.
John, how about you? How have you found doing the festival circuit during this year?
Well, like Timothy said, this is my first film that I'm like really doing things with and like entering into festivals, so it's kind of my first time in the festival circuit. But I haven't, it's it sucks that it can't be in person, I guess, but it hasn't really been difficult to find things to submit to, and all the festivals are still trying their best to like show people's films and like do everything as normal. So and I think like you guys were able to allow like more films in this year than you normally would be able to because it's online. So I think that's good. Yeah, it's different. Yeah, like Jack said, it kind of figures that the pandemic would happen now when we all have movies that we want to put in the festival, but
Always
whatever.
right.
The pandemic's ruining everything. So what's one other thing? It doesn't matter.
No, it's very true, and yeah, you're right. I think the virtual nature has, while it has stemmed a lot of things, it's also opened up some new opportunities. So things like this, the Q&A, a lot of filmmakers from overseas that wouldn't usually be able to attend and stuff can now attend and take part in the talks. Rio, how have you found your journey on the circuit, or at least at this festival?
Yeah, my situation is pretty much the same with John. So
Yeah.
this is my first time, and then I just kind of throw my film on a film freeway to see who accepted me, and then I'll just see. So this is actually the first Q&A ever.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's pretty cool. So kind of enjoying the experience, and then hope I got a lot more coming, and just living in the process because there's nothing we can do about it right now.
Very nice. And what are you working on anything else right now, or are you just working on Winter's Winter?
Right now, I'm not the Winter's Winter is done for me. Right now, I'm writing some feature screenplay, but a man gotta live, so still looking for jobs and stuff like production assistant, first AD, and sometimes I even have the grip because you just
Oh,
gotta
really?
do it.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Swiss Army man.
basically, yeah, just gotta do it.
Nice. Okay, you've got to live it, you've got to breathe it, haven't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, good on you. Jack, how about you? Are you working on anything new? Do you have any other aspirations for your film after this?
No, yeah, actually, I am. I'm getting ready to start a documentary and like a music doc that I'm getting ready to direct. But you know what I found funny? Like doing this is my first time, like since I was a kid, like working in this medium, if you will, and like what you see in your head, trying to get it on film, man, it's like completely, like I'm really real, like I said earlier when we were talking before the program, humbling. Like really humbling, like, something that just looks so easy and so natural. And then you realize how difficult it is to shoot easy and natural, like where it just, seamless. Like, so, I have a lot of plans in my head and then realize, okay, well, maybe not, maybe,
Yeah, it's getting what you've got in the mind's eye onto a screen, isn't it? And I think once you start to try and do it yourself, you respect how difficult it is, and people that have done it very well, how hard it is to do that.
And you respect every job. Like you really start seeing every job, every single person in that crew, how important they are, how important each piece is. It's, that everybody's got to work together as a whole. And you really realize even the job that you may consider, somebody just saw, well, this isn't as important. You realize, no, man. It's important, even all the way down to the guy that brings the water in.
For sure.
It's like, you just really realize like how important everyone is to a production,
So on that point then, I would ask everyone, but starting with you, Jack, what was the most difficult thing about making your film?
I think for me was the realism. The problem that I've struggled with, going to a couple of these festivals is I see these great written stories and great shots and whatever. And I've always struggled with the acting, bad acting can ruin the best line. And, and so that my struggle was, how do I get realism without acting? Mm-hmm. That was the biggest struggle. But other than that, we shot our film for $500 in my garage, and the pier. We shot in my garage and in the pier. And so it was really the acting to me was important.
Sure.
Like,
I would have to say that's that's great to hear as well. I think that will be a great inspiration to the audience that are watching to hear that it was $500 and in your garage. So that's great. Timothy, for you, what was the most difficult part of your short film, would you say?
I'd say the biggest thing for me was just asking for help. I mean, yeah, if I were to do it over, which I have a few projects I'm planning, I just would delegate more things. I had a great team. You know, my DP is like the best of the best, and it was really a great team. But yeah, I was, you know, you just become a jack of all trades sort of, and I think I had a few too many trades flying around.
I like that. That's a nice way to put it. John, for you with bracelets, what did you find the most difficult or the most challenging part of the filmmaking process?
The process of shooting actually went really well.
Okay.
To be honest, like the hardest part was I was really nervous the whole time because I wanted it to be really good, and like again, it was like my first film that I was directing with like a decently sized crew, and like I cast all the actors and everything. So I wanted everything. There was a lot to do. Like we had to like, you know, get locations and make the shooting schedules and like do all that stuff. And you know, there was a lot to do, so I was nervous about that. But I was really surprised because when we started filming, and even pre-production, everything went really well. Like the whole crew that I had was really excited about working on it. Everyone like was working really well together. Like I loved my DP, and like everyone was just so good at their jobs. And then like the actors that I ended up with were all great. Like I purposefully made something where I didn't have many actors because I wanted, and not many locations. Like I did that on purpose because I didn't want to have like too much to organize and like, you know, overstress myself.
That's smart. It's very smart.
And yeah, like I felt like I could focus on the actors that I had more. And yeah, they were all really good. Like they had fun working on it too, and they had fun working together. And yeah, by the time we were done shooting, I literally was like sitting there like I can't believe how well that all went. It was probably like a week that we were shooting, like 5 or 6 days. And I was like I thought there was going to be like some kind of disaster at some point, but like nothing happened. It went way better than I thought it was going to go. Yeah.
No, that's great to hear. Congrats. Rio, what about you? How did you face any challenging moments or?
So for me, I think my film went smooth, but for me, the biggest part is that I have to be really careful about how to give direction to my actors because my main characters, they're female, and then as a male, I don't know like how certain I have to give those gentle and soft feeling the director's notes to them. So I work with them a lot, and then I talk to them, and then we basically create the dialogue all together because I want to feel like what they want to say, not what I want to say, because they are into the character. So that's why I work with them a lot. So when during the actual shoot, I basically just have this note of what I need to give them per sentence, per dialogue, basically just written all out. So if something doesn't work, or if something works, but I want to try different things, I can use it like instantly. So I don't have to think on set. So yeah, that's basically the biggest part that I have to get myself ready for the film.
No, that's very true, and I think it goes back a little bit to what Jack was saying about the realism, and trying to achieve that level of realism where you say you want them to tell you what they want to say, not what you want them to say on behalf of you. So that's actually really interesting. Would you say, Rio, that your film it followed what you wanted it to be before you shot it? Was it exactly how you saw it, or did it change a lot?
The internet. So I didn't hear your question.
Oh, it wobbled out. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right. So I just said, do you think your film, from concept and idea to obviously what we see now, do you think it changed a lot, or?
No, I don't think so.
No?
I think it's exactly what I'm thinking. So I just put my brain out for you guys.
Nice.
Yeah, because when I was writing the script, I will also create some shot list around my
Yeah.
script because I write a lot. And then as I write and then as I draw what I want to see, and then I work with my DP and we create, because basically my shot is pretty long. Like the take is like a long take
For
that we
sure.
can cut fast. Yeah. So we plan that as well. So that's what I'm thinking exactly. I'm happy about the result that it turns out.
Nice. Very nice. Jack, how about you? Did your film have to take on any new ideas, or is it pretty much as you imagined it?
Yeah, I mean it's basically interviews. So it was pretty much like I imagined. There's
Okay.
only two basic scenes.
For sure.
Mine started from a love letter. It started from a love letter to the abuser. Like I was thinking of an old girlfriend. I had her in my head for a second. And then I thought, God, I wonder if these guys that abuse kids, if they ever sit there and go, God, I remember that young man. That was a good time. And so the whole movie started from the end monologue where it says, I wonder if you think of me. I wonder if you fondly recall the times you touched me.
Mm.
And then basically then use the interviews off that monologue like that. So
Yeah, definitely. No, it's a very potent way to start, and I was very moved by 288, I must admit. Timothy, what about you? Was you happy with the end result, really, or did you have to change a few things along the way?
Yeah, there's always a few things that just have to change slightly, but
Mm.
for my process, I guess I always start with storyboarding, which is kind of backwards, but I had just about every shot storyboarded, and then I worked with my DP to get that like vibe and everything just right, and he had a lot of great ideas. So yeah, it's interesting. You have something in your head that's one way, and then you have to accept it's going to come out slightly different, but it can be better if you let it. You just have to let that process unfold. But yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out.
It's great to hear. I mean, sometimes you hear filmmakers, they have these crazy stories where they're like, no, this was never meant to be this way, this had to change. But it seems on the whole, you've been pretty successful at getting that vision onto screen. Lastly, John, same question to you. Did you find anything along the way that you had to change, or were you like the rest of these guys, it pretty much matched the vision?
Yeah, same as Timothy said. I started with storyboards pretty early because I wanted it to be like while we were shooting, we knew exactly what every shot was going to look like. So, we're not like running around guessing like, oh, how is this going to look? What are we going to shoot next? So, yeah, I did storyboards for like the whole thing, and then I went over it with my DP to explain to her like what I wanted everything to look like, and we went to the locations and like took pictures so we could like get an idea of what the angles would look like. And I think that's what helped the shoot go so smoothly because we had a blueprint for how we were going to film everything. And if anything changed, it changed when we were editing because when we're cutting everything together, I think there was a part where we're like, oh well, this scene actually makes more sense if it goes before this scene, stuff like that. So while we're editing, yeah, I think a couple of things changed, but for the most part, it came out like almost exactly as I pictured it when I was writing it, which I really liked. Yeah.
Wicked. That's great. Perfect.
Hey,
I do just want to say we was supposed to be joined by Natasha. I don't think she's been obviously able to make it. That's also a really great film, A Mother. And I was going to ask her some questions about the sort of social justice narratives, both with abortion and Black Lives Matter. But I'm not sure what's happened there. I do just want to say it's been a pleasure talking to you guys. I want to wish the audience a wonderful festival. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you.
Hey.